Welcome to Motohead's Garage, and right here, I have bought the cheapest running and title KLR 650 in the country, and it's way worse than I thought. In 1987, KLR was debuted to a world market, and it it just kind of was synonymous for everything that was awesome about 80s motorcycle. Big, solid, very well built thumper that has proven over the years to be extraordinarily reliable and an extraordinarily good bike. It was very minimally updated throughout the lifespan of the bike. And during that time, it got a few, very few minor refinements up until the 2000s, in which it was 2018, it was discontinued. And then jumping right on board at the perfect time of that old Rona that came to visit, the KLR was updated, shall we say, and re-released. And when it was in, I believe it was 22, was re-released. It had a big fairing. It had the adventure prowess that it should have had all along. And that's what we're going to do with this one. But first, let's get it in the shop. Let's tear it down. Let's see what we have and let's see what we bought. Because when I say cheapest, I bought this machine running, riding. Well, I really haven't ridden it. Been kind of scared to. You'll see why. But running and riding for $600. And I even have a title. And yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm gonna bring you in here as I tear this bike apart. We'll do a I guess a archaeology, an R instead of an R carology, we'll do an R bikeology and see what we can figure out about this. It does have the oversized tank. I think this IMS tank holds like 6.6 gallons or something like that. I could smell the old fuel in it, but like I said, it is running. Let's see if it'll start up. It has been starting up just fine for me. We'll turn the fuel on and it has some very interesting switch gear. Somebody at some point in time had put the Trail Tech system on it, but it is just roached. I've bought multiple bikes with a roached out Trail Tech on there, but I've never actually used the Trail Tech. I think we're going to do that this time. Uh, there's just a lot going on this bike that's just frankly not good. So let me bring you in here. I'll give you a nice overview of what we're actually getting with this bike, and then we'll start pulling it down. I have noticed some things that just make me shake my head at the things people do to dirt bikes and motorcycles. Let's go over a few things. It's got this weird seat cover thing that's on it that's over the top of the seat, which is torn. It is missing this side cover completely with showing duct tape. Somebody has replaced the rear fender. I think somebody at some point in time actually loved this bike. They've replaced the back fender with what looks like that is the rear of a Suzuki. That is a Suzuki rear fender if I've ever seen one. We'll have to take a closer look at that. That may actually stay. I don't have any problems with that. Build a support underneath it so it's not flappy. That's not a problem. FMF, I'll get a hold of them, get new stickers for the side of this, clean this up, make that look new. It has some Honda looking, maybe a YZ, but I think that's a Honda side number plate that is held on with weird bracketry. The carburetor that's in there is not the factory carburetor. I don't know what carburetor that is, but the air boot doesn't even fit it right. So we're going to have to do something about that as far as getting the right carburetor. I don't mind the wrapped exhaust, except for it's just tearing up, and I don't know if some rats got into it or what. So that's definitely going to have to be updated. The tires are pretty roached. The tank is just sitting on there, I believe. Then this terrible headlight. Not even quite sure who makes this. Hopefully the plastics will have like a marking on it. But yeah. Oh, something I noticed at first was this tape here, thinking the throttle cable was bad. But as you see, this has a push-pull style carburetor. From the factory had a CV style carburetor. Well, now it just has a single pull, and God knows what that carburetor is. Somebody melted the plastics off of it and broke them because they couldn't get them off. I don't know. We're going to look into that. Front tire completely roached. The front brakes completely roached. Here's the speed sensor for the Trail Tech. The sensor is right there. The wire is gone and broken. That'll have to be replaced. I think because the Trail Tech, and something that I will say isn't the absolute worst, they had this, I'm sure, mounted up here like this, but behind it, somebody went through some actual work, and I don't have any clue what any of these switches are. The start button and the kill button is all I know. I have no clue. It was probably the horn momentary switch. The blue may have been for high. Oh, these are probably headlights. So you had them on, off, and a high beam and a low beam, I guess. I'm not quite sure. Have the Pro Taper ATV race bin bars. That's interesting. They had some. I mean, like these mirrors. They're not the best mirrors, but they add. I mean, somebody thought this bike was super cool and was going to fix it up, and that's something that we can all appreciate. But yeah, we're going to go through. This is the factory rear grab bar. I'm glad they left that on there. Let's pull this seat off and see what we get. All right, let's get this seat off. Yeah, that's okay. Well, our seat mounts are broken. So it's either going to have to be buying a whole seat. We'll look into that, or building brackets up. I've done that before. You can just build some brackets off of this to bolt that on. We'll cross that bridge. Yeah. Okay. Now time to pull the tank. Let's see what's under this bad boy. Here's the, I swear it's a Honda plastic. The style of it looks so Honda. But this is not even, this is just threaded into this metal here. So, yep, trash. And I figured I'd let y'all see at the same time I do what's under here. Okay. Okay. Come with me and you'll see a world of pure crapulation. Wow. Okay, so what do we have here? We have wires, an abomination of wires going God knows where. This must be to the tail light. Then there's a switch right there. What do we have here? Let's look here. There's some hidden switch right there. And we don't know what goes to. I mean, the switch is kind of nice. But yeah, don't know what it goes to. We know the battery's good. We have a wire here. Oh, this is going to be a mess. Absolute. Oh, here's the other throttle cable. The push-pull, the pull part of the push-pull. And I have no clue what carburetor that is inside there. To get some light and look. We just have a starter relay hanging out there. And then this. Oh, so this probably plugs into here. What is and then they bridged it. Okay, so it had two. So this probably goes to the power of the battery, I bet. Yeah, what a mess. Then they jumpered it and then held it in. With hot glue. I mean, hey. And the little jumper wasn't soldered or anything. Just the focus was just yeah, completely awesome. Under here looks good. You can see they got some spray paint on the fan, but not a big deal. Don't know if it works, but we'll make sure it does. Don't know. Sensors in the head are still there. We do have the first oil leak I've seen, which is right there on that cam bolt. That probably will be a pretty easy fix. CDI's there. Huh. I mean, it's not as bad as it looks. I mean, that carburetor, I have no clue what that carburetor is, but at least the throttle is held in place with the with zip ties. So hopefully my throttle cables are still okay. I can order a set of those. They're not terrible. The coolant it has the blue engine ice in it. So that's actually, I mean, I'll give them credit for that. Somebody loved this bike at some point in time, but it's definitely not loved right now. So I think what I'll do is, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay, so let's get this abortion of a headlight off of here because, I mean, I'm sure it has some people just loving every minute of it, but I actually hate it. So it's just held on by these straps because it's like some kind of universal headlight. So let's see what we got under here. All right, there's that. One more universal strap. And wow. Okay, well, there's nowhere to unplug it because they just have it. Oh, okay, right there. I'll have to take some pictures of that before I pull it off. And they got rust everywhere. It looks like they had got into the factory wiring harness to hook all this stuff up. So I'm probably going to order some universal. Oh, here we go. Actually, the factory plug for the hand controls is still there. The factory plug for the clutch switch, which doesn't seem to actually be triggering. It doesn't. Maybe it does. It's a weird design, but it's still there, so we can use that. They got a silicone thing for holding on like a mountain bike tracker, I believe is what that is. So throw that away. Time to start shedding stuff. We'll have to find out where all this Trail Tech stuff goes. It may actually still be good, just that the what's the word I'm looking for? The screen is completely hammered. Don't know if you can get a new one of those. If I can get a new one of those, I can save myself a lot of money and just use this little one. Oh, I plugged that one in, and I got power there. What do we have here? That's high beam, but it's not. There's no high beam. Don't know what any of this stuff does. Tail light, not working. Let's see. Huh. Okay. The little switch lights up over here. I know y'all can't see that. Oh, the Trail Tech deal is working. The screen is terrible, but maybe I can figure out a way to clean that up and save myself quite a bit of money there. I mean, it's in absolutely terrible shape, but don't know anything about whether it works or not. So I wonder if I start it, will the RPM show up? Yeah. The RPMs did show up, but this little switch back here does nothing. I don't know how. That Trail Tech thing and everything is just getting power all the time. That's what the little fuse that was plugged in was for. So we'll get into that. gonna need a key switch for it. Oh, well, we're gonna need a lot. We're gonna need a lot. I can see the little things that the person who owned this originally did that aren't terrible, but are pretty terrible. So we will follow everything around and see exactly what's what. Start unplugging things and marking things and uh, tracing wires down. This did come on. The Trail Tech did come on. Just the screen is in absolutely terrible shape, almost like it's been covered in gas or something. So let's get a list together, see exactly what we're going to wind up spending on the cheapest KLR650 in the country. How bad can it be? Well, I mean, so far, I'm going to be right under budget what it would have cost to just buy one that's okay, like a good runner. You just get on it and ride. Now, I have some plans for this bike that are going to bring it into the modern time, make it completely, but just make it better is kind of what my plan is. So I got my list here of all of the needed stuff that I can see right now. Obviously, you saw the motor runs great, battery's good. Got an oil filter on the list. Got a air filter on the list. New tires, new seat cover. I think I can fix that seat base. I'm really hoping so because the seats are around $300, 280 or whatever for a seat, and I couldn't find just a regular seat. Um, they're either going to buy a low seat for like 220, or you could buy a nice big comfy seat, which are getting closer to the $400 range. So we're going to do a seat cover. I've had really good luck of fixing those things, so that's what we're going to try to do. I am going to replace this carb. I don't know what this carb is. I don't know what what parts go in it. I don't know anything about it. It doesn't have the push pull. Where that carb is coming off, the factory carb is going back on. Got one of those. I can get one of those. It is a knockoff, so we're going to be able to test to see is that carb any good. It's $66 for that carburetor, so hopefully that is going to be a good option. I don't know what this carb is. Maybe when I get into it and I find out what this carb is, maybe it's an upgrade, but it doesn't seem to fit right. We're just going to replace it. I got a new petcock. The petcock that's on the tank is just not the right one, so we're going to put the right petcock on there. $250 for the windshield headlight system that I'm going to run. Does not go to this bike, but I can build brackets. I can make what I want, and hopefully it'll turn out the way that I'm thinking in my head, which will be really cool. We got to have controls. This control panel that they put up here with the buttons that God knows what they are. Those are going away. We're going to put actual hand controls on there. I'm going to bring the more of a modern hand control. The ones that came on these were really old school. So we're going to update those to a more modern controls. Mirrors, obviously. We're going to put hand guards on it. This bike is going to be an adventure bike. Going to be I do ride trails even on big bikes like this. So adventure bike it is with the hand guards. I got brakes, front and rear brake pads. I am going to order a new Trail Tech. I was able to polish this one wherever I put it. Was able to polish it. I got it plugged in up here, but some of the LCD screen is dead. Like it's just real. What's the word I'm looking for? Real hard to see. I got a buddy of mine who can redo those possibly. So I may do that and use it for another project, but I am putting a new one on this because I want this to be as nice as possible. The side covers were extremely expensive for what they are. Just the two side covers was $100. I believe Mayer is the only people who make them. UFO may make them, but they're the same price. It's $100 for the two side covers. But if you want the bike right, that's what you got to do. So the two side covers, I got a key switch, so I'll be able to turn the key. I got the factory switch. A lot of the wiring is messed up underneath there. And like I said, it's $80 for a new wiring harness. If I can't get this wiring harness fixed, I've had good luck with fixing wiring harnesses. So that's probably what's going to happen. But if I can't, it's $80 for a new wire harness. from Kawasaki. No, excuse me. It's been a long day. And the blinkers. I want to put blinkers on this. I like to be able to be seen. I have some already, but I'm probably also going to add some lights that are like trail lights facing out, fog lights, whatever you want to call them. Those will probably be added on too. So, but that brings my total of parts right now to right around $1,100, almost $1,200. It does, and I did get a pillion bag for this too. In that money, because you kind of need somewhere to put stuff if you're going to be riding any length of time. I did not get bags yet. Bags are like $400 ish for that are made for this bike. We're gonna see what we got to do with that. But if you like this budget adventure bike build, please subscribe and watch. I don't usually ask people to subscribe, but please subscribe and follow this along as we tear this bike down. Next video is going to be probably stripping this down. Don't know if I'll go all the way down to just like engine out, but it's possible. Depends on what I find as I go along. I haven't found any problems with the frame. I for sure will be pulling the airbox, the subframe, the back of the bike off, the back of the bike apart. I will probably rewrap this. They somehow or another just tore the wrapping up, so I may pull that off and rewrap that. But for the most part, it's kind of nice. And well, it's not nice. It's gonna be kind of nice when it's said and done. And if my idea for the headlight system works, you're really gonna want to see that. So I'm looking at right now my budget for a full build. Everything as fresh as I can make it. Obviously, you saw the motor runs, fires right up like a champ. Like I bet you the fuel can's not on, but it fires right up. That's the important part. The heart and soul of this thing is in great shape. There is the doohickey, and the KLR guys will know what I'm talking about. I need to do some research on that, and I may actually just go ahead and spend the money. I'm going to go ahead spend the money on this motor, and it's a chain tensioner piece that goes inside there. We're going to pull the side cover off, replace that, hopefully make a video about that. But like I said, if you enjoy builds like this, follow along, and it'll be a fun video, something different than what I normally do. But we're going to build the cheapest adventure bike and then probably take it on some adventures.